ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಂಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬರಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಬೇಡ್ರುಗಳು ತಪ್ಪಿಲ್ಲ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಏನೇನು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಆಜ್ಞೆ ಮಾಡಿ.
Okay, good morning everyone. So in the last class we had studied about different types of ROMs, is it? So we had in ROM we had masked ROM, PROM, EEPROM, EEPROM, flash and also NVRAM. We were discussing about this. So read only memory. So you will always store most of the program code in this region, read only memory region. So first type of it was masked ROM, where the program code will be stored during the manufacturing process itself and it cannot be changed later on. Okay, so example I said is network operating system, sound data and some instruments and all. Then after this what we have PROM, that is called one time programmable ROM, where the data first you will get a blank memory, afterwards we will write the data into it. During manufacturing we will not do it, so we will just get a blank memory, then it is programmed based on the information to be put by the user. So that process is called as burning. So that is like video games, cell phones and all. So it is called one time programmable. Once it is programmed, the user cannot reprogram it. Then after this, since these two cannot be reprogrammed, there came erasable programmable read only memory, where a part of the data to be erased will be kept in a quartz, it will be just under the quartz crystal window, so that data which is seen through the window is kept under UV rays, so the data will be erased. So it takes around 20 to 30 minutes, the time duration is more. So what did they do? They designed EEPROM, that is electrically erasable PROM, so where the data is erased using electrical signals. So here you can just read or write only one byte, sorry, not read, you can just erase or write the data, one byte of data at a time. So it takes more time again. So then they designed the flash ROM. So in flash ROM what we will do, we will divide that into sectors or pages or blocks of data. So once for all you can either write or erase 512 bytes of data. So it is much faster. So afterwards there is one more called as non-volatile RAM. So what is non-volatile RAM? RAM, you know that it is a volatile memory, but this is called non-volatile RAM. So this comes under both ROM, or you will again explain this under RAM. Okay, so idರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, non-volatile, it should not the data should not get erased when the power goes off. So what we will do, we will have a battery. Okay, there is a battery being provided in order to save the data information stored in the memory even when the power goes off. That is why this is put under this. So the memory and the battery are same on the single package. It is packed together in a single package. So it is used the lifetime of this is 10 years, and example for this is this one, DS1744 from Maxim Dallas is an example of 32 kilobytes NVRAM. Yeah. So now we will see what are the various types of RAM we have. So you know that RAM is a random access memory. Why is it called random access? Because you can either read or write in any of the ways. Okay, so that is why the term random access, that is random access means that in an array of SRAM cells or whatever cells, you can just read or write in any of the order. So that is why it is called random access. Especially it is used as a data memory, or it is called a working memory. And you know that RAM is volatile. Volatile in the sense, as soon as the power is turned off, all the contents get erased. So ROM is non-volatile, RAM is volatile. So NVRAM, that is why you have this NVRAM where battery is used in order to retain the data even if the power goes off. So this NVRAM even comes here. That is what is shown. You can either tell there under ROM and also here in the RAM thing. So then you have RAM is a direct access memory. That is, you can directly access the desired memory location. Okay. So now what are the different types of RAM which we have? So we have SRAM, DRAM and NVRAM. So SRAM is static random access memory, DRAM is dynamic random access memory, and NVRAM is non-volatile random access memory. Okay, static random access memory, dynamic random access memory, and non-volatile random access memory. So these two are very important questions which will be asked in the exam, especially SRAM. So what is this SRAM? So SRAM can retain its stored information as long as the power is supplied. Okay. So whereas in DRAM, no, we have to refresh it periodically whenever it is necessary. And this SRAM is explained using 6 transistors. Okay. This SRAM is explained using 6 transistors. So 6T design anta karitira in SRAM cell. Okay. 6 transistors, 6 MOSFETs. It can be enhancement type. This is depletion type. Enhancement type, depletion type MOSFETs. So 4 transistors in between. This form a latch. Okay, here it is a CMOS inverter. This is one CMOS inverter and this is one CMOS inverter. So this is a latch which forms to store the data. These 4 cells, and these 2 transistors acts as a pass transistors. Okay, these 2 transistors acts as a pass transistors. So static RAM is the fastest form of RAM which is available. So now you have to just go through this working operation. Okay, clear is it? Static RAM is also used to store the data in the form of voltage. So you realize the static RAM using 6 transistors. It can be any other number of transistors. So these 4 transistors as is connected as a flip-flop or a latch which is used to store the data. Like you have crisscross connected NAND flip-flop using NAND, or flip-flop using NAND gates or NOR gates, or NAND or NOR combination. No, that is how. And you can see one is PMOS and one is NMOS. This is NMOS here, this is NMOS, and this is PMOS here. PMOS. These two are PMOS transistors and these two are NMOS transistors. Output of this, okay, output of this transistor, this one, output of this is connected as input to this, and the other input is connected as input to this. Okay, output of this is connected as input to these 2 transistors Q3 and Q4. The output of this is connected as input to this transistors Q1 and Q2. And these are pass transistors. Anything which you have to write, you'll write here bit line B and bit line bar. This is active low and this is active high. So if you write 1 here, automatically by default it means it is 0 this side. And there is word line also. So using this bit line and word line, we are going to read or write the data into this cell. This is a single cell. Remember, this is a single cell which stores only 1 bit of data, either 1 or 0, whichever you want to access. So there will be 3 states. One is a previous state. Either you read or write a 0, or it is read or write 1. Okay. So old state is nothing but previous state. It retains the same state. Remember the flip-flop logic here. Okay, it retains the same state. So where is this SRAM used? Okay, so where is this SRAM used? So SRAMs are used in PCs. any of the cache memory, hard disk buffers and all. Sometimes it is used in LCD screens and printers also. LCD screens, the data store madlikke, you have that LCD screens and all, no? So there also we use to display the image stored or to be printed and all. So there also SRAMs are used. And sometimes we use it in CD-ROMs and read-write drives, CD drives. Small SRAMs will be used there also. So this is used in almost all the industries like cell phones, cameras, electronic, any kind of automotive electronic systems and all. So you go for SRAM. Okay, so now we will see how do you read or write this data onto the SRAM. Okay, please listen to it carefully. So I'll just take one thing and we'll just write. Okay, let this node be B. Okay, 1 second. And this you consider it as A, and this you consider it as B. Okay, consider this node as this is input, is it? Yeah, this node as B, and this one. Yeah, this node. Let this node be A. Okay, and okay. Suppose first we will consider the write operation, which I'll just tell you. So, in for write operation. Okay, so write operation ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Suppose previous data will assume before, okay, previous data which was there at node A, okay, node A is equals to 0. Assume that node A is equals to 0 and node B is equals to 1. Previously assume that before anything, before the thing, whatever ಮುಂಚೆ ಏನಿತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿ latch ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ node A is equals to 0 and node B is equals to 1. ನಿಮಗೆ flip flop operation ನೆನಪಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, same way it is like if Q is equals to 1 previously, now what will happen? I'll just tell you here. You will reset ಆದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, Q1 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ನೀವು reset ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ Q will become 0. Same way, assume that this node A is at logic 0 and node B is equals to 1. So now what we sorry, it got disconnected. So I'll consider this as A and this as node B. Okay, now you take, we were doing write operation. Okay, so we will just consider before we had at node A is equals to data at node A is 0 and data available at node B is equals to 1. Okay, now what we have to do, I have to write, okay, why is it disconnecting so many times? Okay. Sorry for that, it is getting disconnected many a times. Now to write A is equals to 1 and B is equals to 0, what is that we have to do? So why is that it is getting disconnected? Is anything is anyone doing something like that? Because it is very disturbing. So you have to understand this concept well. If it is like this, I cannot explain at all. Consider this as node A and consider this as node B. Okay. So assume that previously A is equals to 0. This one, A is equals to 0 and B is equals to 1. Okay. Assume that A is equals to 0 and B is equals to 1 here. Now what I have to write? I have to write, assume this is previous data. This is 0 and this is 1. Okay. I'll just choose another one. Now what I have to write? I have to write 1 here and I have to write 0 here. Okay. I have to this data, this I have to write 1 at this point. Okay. Node A. So what I'll do? So here these two are NMOS transistor. This is N and this is also NMOS transistor. Maybe the internet connection is not so stable. If at all this is getting cut many a times, I'll just record it and send you. There is no stable connection. I'll just see now for 5 minutes. If it is not working, I'll just record it and send you. Okay. 0 and this is 1 and I have to write 1 and I have to write 0 here, and this is NMOS, this is also NMOS, this is your PMOS transistor and this is also PMOS transistor. Okay, so we will access the data through bit lines. Okay, you'll write the data using this bit lines, and word line access is always kept high because this transistor, MOS transistors here, it should be active, no? So word line is at high. Suppose if I'm writing bit line, if we write 1 on this bit line, then obviously 0 will be written by default on bit line bar, and WL, this line will be equal to 1. Okay, so for writing operation, what I have to do? First, A is equals to 0. Assume that previously A was 0 and B is here. At this node, the data available is 1. Now I have to write something else. So something else in the sense I have to rewrite this data or overwrite this data. So I will overwrite this data as 1. I'm writing 1, so I'm overwriting this data. This is 1 I should make, and this should be 0. Obviously, this I am making 1. So what I'll do? To write this 1 here, I'll make this bit line will go to 0. Okay, you consider this goes to 0 here, and there is this active 0. This I said this is a pass transistor. So if 0 is available here, so the 0 becomes the, what will happen? The 0 becomes the input to this transistor, correct? The 0 becomes the input to these two transistors. So you know that input 0 to the PMOS transistor, it will turn on this transistor. So when it turns on this transistor, the output of this VCC will be available at this point. So it becomes 1. NMOS transistor is off. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? First only 0 to A was 0 and B is equals to 1. Assume like that. Now I have to write 1 here to this node. Okay, what I'll do? I'll reduce this voltage across this bit line bar. So you will, if you reduce it to VSS, that is, you say it is reduced, that is B is equals to 0. Okay, you'll reduce this voltage level to VSS in the sense it is 0. So when this passes this value 0 here, this input, this B is the input to these two transistors Q1 and Q2, where Q1 is a NMOS transistor and Q2 is a PMOS transistor. So the input 1 turns on which transistor? PMOS transistor, that is Q2 is on and Q1 is off. Since Q2 is on with this PMOS transistors, this active high signal will be available at this node, that is now A is equals to 1. Now A is equals to 1 is it? This A is equal to 1 in turn, it is the input to this Q3 and Q4 transistors. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? A is equals to 1 is the input to this Q3 and Q4 transistors. ಈಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Q3 turns on because it is one NMOS transistor, the input available is 1. So this NMOS transistor turns on and PMOS transistor Q4 is off. So when this is off, this here the active low V is equals to 0. Okay, so this is how write operation is done by overwriting the data. Okay, so overwriting the data on to this transistor at these points. Okay, if suppose you don't want any ಓಕೆ ಇನ್ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನ್ ಡೇಟಾ ಈ ಲ್ಯಾಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಈ ಲ್ಯಾಚ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ರಿಮೇನ್ ಸೇಮ್. Okay, previous state it should remain same. You are not doing anything, so the data here it should be as it is. Munche yenittu, say we had written 1 and 0 here, it should remain same. So what we will do, we will not assert these transistors. You will not, this word line is not asserted in the sense you will completely disconnect these Q5 and Q6 transistors. So when word line is not asserted in the sense it is 0, so these two transistors do not have any connection with this part of the thing. This is a complete latch or a flip flop. Okay, so here it is not connected. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ ಹಾಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. This is crisscross connected. No, whatever is the data present here, it remains as it is. If it is 1 here, it will remain 1. If it is 0 here, it remain 0. Only thing is, if you want to change this, you will use this bit line and word line. Okay, when word line is equals to 0, then this is not on and this is also not on. These two transistors do not have any connection with this portion. This is a latch portion, so whatever is the data available here, it remains same. So when we have to change the data, then we have to make this word line should be high and also this bit line also should be high. So to write the data, if suppose you are writing 1 to the data, writing 1 to this any of the transistor, this is vice versa. So if you are writing 1, what we are going to do, this bit line is made 0. So this 0 is available here, which turns on this Q2 transistor, and since Q2 transistor is on, this VCC, the high voltage is available here, so it becomes 1 here. Okay, and this 1 acts as input to these two transistors Q3 and Q4. So now Q3 transistor turns on and the output is, what is the output? That is connected to this 0 ground. So this output available is 0 here, so it is 1 0. Once you disable all these two transistors, then whatever is the data present here, it remains same. Okay, now for read operation, what you will do, if suppose read operation to read the data, you will either, you can, if you are reading 0 here, that means you are reading 1 here, this side. So it is whatever the data is here, the same complement of that data is available across this line, bit lines. Okay, so during bit lines will be pre-charged before the read operation. Bit lines will be So ಮುಂಚೆನೆ bit lines charge ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀರಾ. So whatever there's the data present here, that you will read from this lines. Okay, if it is 1, you will read 1 from this line, or this side. If it is 1 this side, you will read 1 from this side. Or if it is 1 here, then it will be 0 here. So you will read data 0 from this line. Okay, that is how this SRAM cell implementation is done. Now coming to the DRAM, I'll just DRAM cell. So in dynamic RAM, it stores the data in the form of charge. So capacitor is used here. So whatever the data is written, that is stored in the form of charge on the capacitor. Only thing disadvantage is that the charge will leak. Okay, so that is the only thing. So they are made up of mass transistors here also. And so if suppose you are writing one, suppose bit line is made 1 and word line is also 1, this transistor is active high, and so this one will be stored on the capacitor. Okay, otherwise if it is 0, then 0 will be stored. So but only thing is the charge may leak. So it is always necessary for use to use the refreshing circuits. So refreshing circuits, so that you can just read the data what is available on the cell. Okay, that is about DRAM cell. Okay, whatever is the data you write or read, that is available in the form of charge, which is on the charge stored by the capacitor. So refreshing circuits will be used here in order to retain that information. Okay, illa andre one ittu charge leak aitu andre you will not have that amount of voltage, then you may read it wrong as 0 or something else. 0. Okay, it should be maximum, it is 1, VDD it is 1, otherwise it is minimum, it is read as 0. So that is why we have to take care that capacitor charging, it should be refreshed periodically. So they do ask what is the differences between SRAM cell and DRAM cell. So it is SRAM cell, it is one single cell is made up of 6 CMOS transistors, and here it is MOSFET and a capacitor. So it doesn't require any refreshing circuits. Here you have a refreshing circuits. So it is low capacity because 6 transistors make up one cell. Okay, to store 1 bit of data. It is high capacity because you have only one transistor and one capacitor to store a single bit of information. Here it would be 6, so you need, it is the area required is very large. So more expensive, less expensive. So typical access time is 10 nanoseconds. It is slow operation because you need to refresh it again and again. So it is 60 nanoseconds. So write operation is much faster than read operation here in DRAM cell. Okay, so then you have typical yeah, before this it is not given here, I'll just go through this. So after SRAM and DRAM, you have memory according to the type of interfaces, the type of memories which you use. Okay, if suppose you are using a parallel interface, what is the kind of memory required, how many bit memory is required, and if you are using a serial interface, what is the type of memory required. Okay, so parallel interface ali, like you have parallel interface ige anta memory beku, like D0 to D7 is a parallel line. So how many bits, if suppose 8-bit processor is used, how many bits, I mean what kind of memory is being used. Otherwise if it is a serial SPI interface, what is the memory used anta. Parallelly gadre you measure it in kilobytes, whereas in serial program, I mean serial interface, you just measure it in kilobits. Okay, 512 kilobytes, I mean here it is kilobytes for parallel, and here you measure it as kilobits. Okay, kilobits. So one example for serial which they have given is AT24C512, which is an example for serial interface. Okay, so this is a type of memory based on the interfaces which you use. Then you have memory shadowing. So you know that execution of program in ROM is very slow when we compare it with the RAM. So we can just see the ROM speed which they have given. Example is 120 to 100 nanoseconds, whereas for this RAM it is 40 to 70 nanoseconds. So from this we can observe that 43 is 120. So it is almost, RAM is 3 times faster than that of ROM. So we have when in the computer systems we have the configuration, I mean area program memory which stores the configuration and all, which is called BIOS. Okay, basic input output system. So it holds the configuration settings, system configuration information and all. So this is stored in ROM. This is usually stored in ROM. Suppose if you are booting it from ROM, it takes more time to boot up. So what do they do is, you have a separate region which is mapped in RAM. Okay, separate region of RAM is mapped to the address same as that of this ROM address, where the BIOS information or the system configuration information is stored. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? We know that RAM is much faster than ROM. So system configuration information is stored in this ROM, part of the ROM. That BIOS information is stored in the part of the ROM. Okay, so now if at all if we are booting it from ROM, then it will take more time. So what do? They have a part of the memory from RAM use ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು RAM address, the address of RAM is mapped to this address of ROM, where the BIOS information is stored. Okay, so that thing is called as shadowing. Okay, that thing is called as shadowing. See here, so you have a RAM which has the same address as that of the BIOS, which is stored in ROM. Okay, so whenever the booting takes place, it boots up from RAM. Okay, whenever the booting takes place, it boots up from RAM, which will be much faster when compared to this BIOS, which is stored in ROM. Okay, so here you can think of that there are two memories. Why to waste two memories? Because you have this RAM is also having the same information which is present in ROM. But remember, once the power power is off, the information present in RAM will be lost. Only thing is, while booting up, in order to speed up the process, we will go for this memory shadowing. So the system gets, whatever the booting information, it boots up from the RAM, not from the ROM. Okay, that is called as memory shadowing. Then we have memory selection for embedded systems. So you have various types of embedded systems which are present: small scale, medium scale, large scale, based on the applications which we use. So what kind of memory, how do you choose the type of, how many bytes of RAM and how many bytes of ROM is required? ROM is required to for that particular application. So whether you use a EEPROM or whether it is a flash memory which we use, all that kind of memory selection is also done based on the embedded system. That is what is told here. So we know that, as I said, example, you have you will not usually use the maskable ROM. You just have EEPROM being used, flash memory for the faster access, and we also have NVRAM being used. Okay, so and the number of bytes and kilobytes depends upon the application, also depends upon what kind of embedded system you are using. So the memory chips may range from bytes to kilobytes or megabytes also. That is what is given. So it is just only what kind of memory you use. As I said, that PROM is used in cell phones and all. It is not cell phones, video games, and EEPROMs, it is used in small microcontrollers. And then you have EEPROMs used in computer system BIOS. Okay, we use EEPROMs in system BIOS. And then we have flash RAM. Usually now that we go for, instead of EEPROM, we go for flash memory always in the ROM also. That is what is given, because it is much faster. You can have NAND flash or NOR flash, or the combination of those two, because you know that memory, it is nothing but a flip-flops or latches. You have different kinds of NAND or NOR being used there. So any kind of thing. So in order to have a faster access to the memory, or faster, it should be data to be written or read in a faster way, then you go for a flash memory. So the modern PCs will have their BIOS information stored in the flash memory chip, which is called as flash BIOS. And as well as modems also use that flash kind of memory. Okay, so this is what is related to RAM and ROM. Okay, so I'll just end the class here, because I have got one more class at 12:30. So I'll just end it here. We will see the sensors and actuators in the next class. Okay, and portions for your first internals would be module 1, Okay, portions for your first internals would be module 1 and module 2, all complete instruction set. You will not study from memory mapping. I'll just put it on the group. You will have the complete instruction set. Memory mapping illa andre you have the chapters 1, 2, 3 and 4. Fifth chapter is not there. Okay, so I'll just end this here. Okay, we will see that sensors and actuators in the next class. Thank you.